I think this is actually, as strange as this sounds, maybe a positive force for some change at the company. We've been advocating that Elon has a different role, stays at Tesla with a different visionary role, non-investor-related focus. I think there's an opportunity that this may pave the way for some of that. I also believe that it's unlikely that he will be removed. I understand that that's what investors are jumping to that conclusion, and agree with Phil that that will be on investors' minds for a long time. But that's only one of the 4 remedies for being found guilty of securities fraud. And keep in mind, he has not been found guilty. So I think this all plays into the difficulty that Tesla is having. I think that it's understandable, the immediate reaction. I believe that it's going to cause the stock to be range-bound for probably the next 3 months. But I'm optimistic that this actually will be a force of some positive change at the company.
Gene, that sounds like a remarkably positive spin on what is unquestionably a negative headline when it hit and surprised the market moments ago. If that punishment that Harvey Pitt outlined to us as a hypothetical possible of being excluded from taking positions either on the executive or on the board of a company moving forward, if that punishment was taken, will we be moving a lot lower when that day comes?
I think when that day comes, it would be, the stock would go lower. I just do also want to be very clear. I think that this is negative. It's going to cause the stock to be range bound. Agree with Phil that I think that there are positive results coming for the September quarter, but that gets muted with all of this. I don't think that Elon in a non-chair role or non-board role, non-investor-facing role, I actually think that that would be a positive for him personally. I think it would be a positive for the company because it would allow him to focus on what he is best, which is product and vision. And so I think the most important part is that he remains an important part of the fabric of that company. And it's about setting the pace, both in terms of work ethic and product pace. And he can do that without having a spot on their board or an investor-facing role. And so understand why my view would be viewed as aggressively glass half full perspective. But I think in fact that is this could be a great catalyst for change at the company.
It's sort of what you were saying, Stephanie.
Yeah, absolutely.
About changing roles.
I mean, this company hasn't been able to consistently execute under Elon Musk. So there's that, right? And then you have all this drama, you have all this uncertainty, and as I mentioned, lack of confidence, and that's why the stock has pulled back. So I'm not trying to suggest that tomorrow it rallies on the news. I'm just saying if in fact he is put elsewhere at the company and they get an adult to run the company kind of thing, then I think the stock rallies.
I mean, there's a difference between the board coming to the conclusion that Elon is better as chief engineer and founder or something like that and remains a presence at the company, and being cornered by the SEC saying you committed securities fraud and then saying, okay, fine, we'll just take him out of the CEO role and take him off the board. So it's a little bit of a different message than just deciding to do that.
Right.
And I do think that there's a real business here that's worth something, but how much of the $50 billion market cap is in Elon premium right now? We just don't know that.
Harvey Pitt, former SEC chair, way back in, how long is this likely to take before we get definitive decisions on guilt and then punishments?
I think unless there is a settlement, which we should not discount as a possibility, and I can explain that in a moment if you wish, but unless there's a settlement, I think we're looking at a minimum of at least 6 months and perhaps up to a year. The reason for that simply is that there will, if it's litigated, there'll be motions to dismiss the case. If those are rejected, then there'll be discovery. And indeed, if the Department of Justice is actively investigating, they may well intervene in the SEC action to preclude discovery while their criminal investigation continues. So unless the case is settled, we are looking at, I would say, a minimum of 6 months to a year. The case could be settled because what's most important to Musk is that he continue as a predominant guiding figure of Tesla. As a result, if he can extricate himself from this litigation and do so while preserving his ability to guide Tesla in some fashion, it might well be seen to be in his interest to basically settle the SEC's charges. He may try not to admit or deny them, and then go back to his principal job of providing guidance to Tesla as it moves forward.